YouTube, welcome back to the channel. And since this video is about Bako, I figured that instead of talking about the elephant, we could talk about the tiger in the room. Boom.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But on a real note, Bako has accomplished some amazing feats in this series. He supports Mina when she's using literal cannons. He bounced building to building with Mina on his back and even distracted Kaiju number 9 by itself. But more recently, we learned that Bako is actually a Kaiju tiger. A Kaiju tiger that is being used by the Defense Force. And if that's not weird enough, we got some crazy cover art in chapter 103. I say crazy because the cover art is Mina feeding a baby Bako. This shows us that Mina has been around Bako from the beginning of his life up until now. And it got me thinking deeply. My first thought was that the Defense Force didn't find Bako. The Defense Force created Bako. And then the next question that came to mind for me was, did the Defense Force create Bako specifically for Mina? We'll get into that in this video. Let's get into it. Now, there are a couple of reasons why I think that things surrounding Bako are very, very shady. And my first reason in particular has to do with chapter 33. This is right after Kaiju number 8 gets revealed to be Kafka. The higher-ups in the Defense Force were discussing what they wanted to do with Kafka. And there is one response that has just always stuck with me. The wannabe pirate with an eye patch looks at all the other higher-ups and goes, "We ought to keep this under wraps as we did with Kaiju number 9. I also hear a certain country is experimenting with kaiju to human tissue transplants. They would insist on having a say in this." Now, anybody that knows science knows that we never start with experimenting things on humans. We always start with experimenting on animals before deeming it safe for humans. I am by no means saying that this is right. I am just telling you what happens a lot of the times. And with modern science, do you not think that they would experiment with kaiju cells on an animal before they would be experimenting with kaiju cells on a human? And to take it one step further, wouldn't you want to have successful trials on an animal before you start trying to have successful trials on a human? And this is where I think that Bako could very well come into play. I could very much so see Bako being an experiment that was created for Mina. And the reason I think it could be for Mina is simple. Mina had two big reasons for joining the Defense Force. Her first one was her promise to Kafka. Her second reason was because Miko the cat died. Miko the cat was very special to Mina. Not only did she lose so many other things, but Miko was what she pointed out to Kafka after that kaiju attack. Now, knowing that Mina has always had a love for cats, I find it very strange and too coincidental that her best companion in the Defense Force is a big kaiju cat. Come on. Bako being created for Mina makes sense logistically. Mina is firing the most powerful weapons that the Defense Force has. This takes time and output to recruit enough kaiju fibers in order to blast these weapons. There was a point where Itami said that Mina is literally the only person in the world that can use the weapons that she is using. And during these moments, Mina can't move because she's using these literal cannons. Bako keeps her mobile whenever she's blasting these weapons. Not only that, he acts as recoil control whenever Mina is blasting her cannons from insane angles, jumping off of buildings and trying to make it so that she is accurately shooting these weapons while she's in midair. Bako acts as perfect recoil control for that. It's almost like Bako just perfectly works with Mina. So there's no way that they just so happen to, oh my gosh, we found a kaiju tiger. What would you know? Our once in a lifetime member in the Defense Force, Mina Ashiro, could really use this thing whenever it gets bigger. Not only is it a kaiju so it can withstand all these blasts, it can help her jump building to building. It can provide recoil control. She already loves cats. Too coincidental, man. Too coincidental. And maybe this is just me going down the rabbit hole of wondering what's going on, but Come on, what do you all think? Is Bako ever shady to you? Have you ever questioned where Bako came from? Have you ever wondered how the Defense Force got a Kaiju tiger to be so docile? Am I the only person that thinks that the Defense Force is shady as shit? I dropped another video talking about this, but there are a lot of weird things surrounding the Defense Force. I'll put it up on the screen so that you can check it out if you want, but I just really think the Defense Force created Bako, and not only that, may have specifically created Bako for Mina. And if they were successful with creating a Kaiju big cat, who knows what else that means that they are working on in the background. Even Kaiju number 9 looked at Bako and said, this is a rare specimen or a rare species. He said that he would love to take it and do experiments on it, because even he was amazed by Bako. Kaiju number 9 knows everything about Kaiju. This man bringing back Kaiju from the dead, and he's amazed by seeing Bako. Hey, I will let y'all get in the comments and tell me what you think too, because there's no way you don't think that Bako is sketchy. There's no way you don't think the Defense Force is sketchy. So, hey, we got another chapter coming this week. We finally get to see Kafka big body bends on Kaiju number 9. Yeah, Kaiju number 9 probably is going to be on the up and up at the end of the chapter, but we'll read and see. Excited to drop that chapter review, y'all. So if you watch this, as always, arigato. And I will see y'all in a couple days for the chapter 107 review. So until then, peace.